crunch time
with Ryan Kordziel.
It's crunch time.
Unbelievable.
This is Kordziel Krunch
with Ryan Kordziel.
Hello and welcome to Kordziel Krunch. John Elway is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks in football history. By the end of his career, he had accomplished just about everything a quarterback could hope for. But he still hadn't won a championship, though he had come close in 1986 against the Giants. By 1997, the then 37-year-old Elway was nearing the end of his career. Despite a productive season where he threw for over 3,600 yards and a career-high 27 touchdowns, he had played the entire season with a surgically repaired biceps tendon. The Broncos were determined to win, and rolled over the Jacksonville Jaguars 42-17 before much more narrow victories against the Chiefs and Steelers, setting them up for a Super Bowl showdown against the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, led by 28-year-old Pro Bowler Brett Favre, had won their division with a 13-3 record and defeated the Buccaneers and 49ers en route to the big game. They were 11-point favorites heading into the Super Bowl. The Packers got on the board first when Antonio Freeman returned the opening kickoff 19 yards to the Packers' 24-yard line, before running back Dorsey Levens ran 27 yards on 3 plays to get all the way to the Broncos' 35. Brett Favre then completed a key pass on 3rd down and 9, which Freeman caught for a 13-yard gain to keep the drive alive. Freeman then caught another 13-yarder and finished off the drive with a 22-yard touchdown catch to give Green Bay an early 7-0 lead. The Broncos responded when running back Vaughn Hebron returned the kickoff 32 yards to their own 42-yard line. And then the Broncos engineered a drive that found them all the way at the Packers' 46-yard line. Elway struggled and on 3rd down sent an incomplete pass, but Packers cornerback Doug Evans was called for a holding penalty, and the drive continued. On the next play, Elway handed the ball off to running back Terrell Davis, who took it 27 yards down to the 14-yard line. After another 2-yard run from Davis, John Elway scrambled 10 yards for a 1st down at the 2-yard line, and Davis then ran the ball in on the next play to tie the game at 7. The Packers' next possession was disastrous, as Favre's second throw was intercepted by Tyrone Braxton at the 45-yard line. Terrell Davis ran 5 separate times for a total of 29 yards, and the Broncos scored again when Elway ran in for a 1-yard touchdown and gave the Broncos a 14-7 lead. The Packers got the ball back in the second quarter, but safety Steve Atwater forced a fumble by Favre, and Broncos defensive end Neil Smith recovered the ball on Green Bay's 33-yard line. The Broncos failed to get a 1st down, but did score when Jason Elam kicked a 51-yard field goal to increase their lead to 17-7. Elam's 51-yarder was the second longest field goal in Super Bowl history. After both teams failed to score on their next possessions, the Broncos punted the ball and it landed at the Packers' 5-yard line with just over 7.5 minutes remaining. But the Packers orchestrated a 17-play, 95-yard drive to close out the half, ending when Favre threw a 6-yard pass to tight end Mark Shmura, with 12 seconds left in the half, cutting the Broncos' lead to 17-14. The third quarter began with Tyrone Williams forcing and recovering a fumble from Terrell Davis at the 26-yard line. The Broncos' defense forced a 3-and-out, but were called on an offsides penalty, allowing the Packers to have another try. Green Bay had a 1st and 10 inside the 20-yard line, but managed just 11 yards before being forced to kick a field goal to tie the game at 17. Later on in the quarter, Packers punter Craig Hentrich sent a booming 51-yard punt to the Broncos' 8-yard line. But their defense couldn't stop the Broncos. Aided by a 36-yard catch from Ed McCaffrey, Denver marched down to the Packers' 12-yard line. Elway scrambled for an 8-yard gain, a play in which Elway dove and was hit so hard that he literally spun in the air. This play has been called the helicopter and is regarded as a signature moment of John Elway's career. 2 plays later, Terrell Davis scored a 1-yard touchdown and gave the Broncos a 24-17 lead.
But the most eye-opening run of Super Bowl 32 was a leap by a man in whom the Broncos placed their faith.
Elway can run. Come on, John, come on. Come on. Inside the 10, head first. He dives inside the 5-yard line. Yeah. 3.
We've been practicing that pass play the whole week, and it was a play that I wasn't essentially really that fond of, but it was a play that went in that week specifically for the Green Bay Packers. Even during practice that week, I'd ask Mike, I said, well, what happens if they don't play that defense? He said, it's 100%. They'll play that defense. They've played that defense the whole year. I said, okay, so in comes that play.
Okay, point slice.
And sure enough, I'm in shotgun. It's 3rd and 6, and I look out there, and they're not in that defense. And so I knew that I was going to have to find a hole. So I took my drop and was looking for a place to get through to try to make something happen. When I got outside, the first thing I did, as you can see my eyes, I looked to see where the first down marker was. I knew that they were probably thinking that I was going to go low, and I put that old 5-inch vertical jump on them, and I went over the top and was able to get the first down.
One of the greatest individual efforts that you will ever see in a Super Bowl. Because in that split second, you knew that he wanted it, and wanted it more than anybody else on the football field.
Elway's determined run led to a Davis touchdown and a 24-17 lead.
On the kickoff, Packers special teams player Detron Smith ran full speed and hit Freeman, forcing a fumble, and Denver recovered the ball at the 22-yard line. Elway attempted to throw a touchdown, but instead threw an interception, and the ball was returned to the 15-yard line by Packers safety Eugene Robinson. After the interception, the Packers began the fourth quarter by marching 85 yards downfield in just 4 plays, including 3 receptions from Freeman, ending with a 13-yard touchdown to tie the game at 24. After this, the defenses of both teams were on high alert. After a Packers punt, linebacker Darius Holland committed a 15-yard face mask penalty tackling Terrell Davis. With the ball at the 32-yard line, Elway threw a 23-yard pass to fullback Howard Griffith. Despite being pushed back to the 18-yard line because of another holding penalty, Davis ran for 17 yards and was stopped just short of the goal line. With 1:47 remaining, the Broncos were facing a 2nd and goal, and Davis again ran in for a touchdown to give the Broncos a 31-24 lead.
Hearts are pounding in Denver. Nobody but Terrell here. Davis into the end zone, rocking, standing up. Can you say Denver is in the lead? Denver's going to win it. Oh, baby, they're going to win this thing.
Terrell Davis has already been named the most valuable player of Super Bowl 32, and why not?
Green Bay made a last-ditch effort to tie the game with 1:45 on the clock. Freeman returned the kickoff 22 yards to the 30-yard line and eventually got to the Broncos' 35 with 1:04 remaining. After a 4-yard pass to Levens, Favre threw 2 incompletions, including a 3rd down incompletion which saw Packers wide receiver Robert Brooks and Broncos defensive back Randy Hilliard knocked out of the game on a huge hit from Steve Atwater. On 4th down, linebacker John Mobley broke up a pass, and the Broncos took over on downs, running out the clock to take a 31-24 victory. Broncos running back Terrell Davis was named Super Bowl MVP after running for 157 yards and scoring a Super Bowl record 3 rushing touchdowns. Davis, as well as quarterback John Elway, tight end Shannon Sharp, and offensive lineman Gary Zimmerman were inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, as were Packers quarterback Brett Favre, defensive end Reggie White, and general manager Ron Wolf. That'll wrap up this episode of Kordziel Krunch. Join me next week when I take a look at another iconic moment in sports history. For Kordziel Krunch, I'm Ryan Kordziel. Thanks for listening.
Kordziel Krunch.
With Ryan Kordziel.
Ryan Kordziel. Crunch time.